Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. Just had this video going and the phone rings. My phone never rings. It's like one of my VoIP phones, my Magic Jack, or either Magic Jack or Uma, one of the two. Anyway, I had to cut loose. So anyway, let me restart over. So one thing I want to share with you guys today is, you guys know I review all kinds of obscure things on the channel and different things, and whatever I get or what kind of projects I'm working on, I like to, because remember guys, people follow me for different reasons. Sometimes people like to watch my video reviews on the INVICTAs, other times it's smart home tech, other times it's just other tech items, other times people subscribe for just the different gizmos I review, different projects I'm working on. Everybody has a reason for why they want to subscribe to my channel, and I like to share, like I've said before in the past, I like to share anything that I'm working on, especially projects or customizing, customizing projects. I just like to put it out there because I do feel like YouTube, not only is it fun for me to review these things, and it is a business, of course, what's really great is that anything you put on YouTube, you could potentially help somebody else out. So I can't tell you the number of times I've learned to do something just by watching a YouTube video. I've gained inspiration from YouTube videos, so it's a great platform. It's a great search engine, and so I like to share with you guys some of my expertise. Again, I don't think I'm a genius or an expert really with anything, but I have some experience with some things, some of my own projects, and I feel like if I can be an inspiration to somebody else or help somebody else make a decision, then fantastic. So one of the projects I'm working on right now is, unfortunately, it wasn't a project I planned on doing so soon. I'm putting a new exhaust system on my 2000 Honda Accord. Now, a little bit of history about the Honda Accord. I bought it brand new in 1999. I wanted specifically a silver two-door coupe, charcoal leather, stick shift, and they were very difficult to find. You don't find a lot of sedans in stick shift. Now, they are available, you can find them, but at the time when I was looking for it, the Honda Accord has only been out for, at that point, what, 1 year? I think it came out in 98. I was looking September of 99. The 2000s were coming out pretty soon, the way, my previous vehicle, my 96 Sonoma, that vehicle you could order. So you could pick out exactly what you wanted, locking window, or power door locks, power seats, bucket seats, locking differential, stick shift. You could pick and choose what you wanted, and then you'd put a deposit down. They would build you the truck. Tell you it'd take 5-6 months, whatever. Eventually they would build it, and you'd get exactly what you wanted. With Hondas, at least at the time, they didn't do that. You basically picked out one of their trims, EX or LX, and there were certain things you can get, but most of those things are dealer installed items. So if you wanted a spoiler, you want a floor mat, the car would come one way, and the dealer would put that stuff on. So if you wanted to have, let's just say, a stick shift Honda like I did, I wanted silver, I wanted a two-door coupe, I wanted the 4-cylinder, and I wanted stick and charcoal leather EX. Those are the options. That's what I wanted. And so in order for you to get that, you can't order one. You can only find one being built and then put your name on it with a deposit. Well, at the time, it was very difficult to find a dealer who wanted to give you a fair deal. And when I buy a new car, it's 5% over dealer invoice. If a dealer's not willing to do that, it's a fair price for the dealer. I don't have to waste anybody's time going in there and deciding what I want. A dealer, all he has to do is take my check and order the car or get the car. That's it. Very easy to make a quick commission. So a lot of guys, we were way off on price. So long story short, I did find a great dealership who's like, yep, we got one being made. It's going to take 3 months. We'll put your name on it. Put down some money. I think I put down like half of the car. And so I got the vehicle. So with that particular vehicle, as soon as I got it, I lowered it, did all the things I wanted to do to it within like a week. And one of the things I did to it was exhaust. Now, that car I still have, and as we approach 20 years now, or no, 21 years, some things have started to fail on it. And the car's been really reliable. I only have 105,000 miles, I think, all original. I have had a clutch replaced, which is probably due to me being younger and driving the way that I did. Or maybe I don't know how to drive a stick properly, but I have had the clutch replaced, and that was beyond my skill set and beyond what I can do in my garage. I don't have a lift or any of that stuff. So some things I can do, brake jobs, exhaust stuff, kind of the more simple things, the stereo stuff, but lowering a car, I can do that stuff. But when it comes to the clutch, I couldn't do. So I had that fixed, I had the timing belt replaced. And so hopefully at some point maybe I'll learn more as I go. But those are really the only things I had done. Battery and a starter. Main relay. And I did that myself. So point being, the car is pretty simple. I mean, it's not really like compared to like new cars with all the modern technology. There's a lot more to go wrong. My car is pretty simple. So which is why I love that car and my Solara. Jaguar, here's some things about that I've had some issues, but nothing really over the top and major. So anyway, so the exhaust on the car, a little bit, I want to talk about the exhaust today and give you guys some ideas on what you might look for if you're looking to maybe put an exhaust system on your vehicle, and just talk about some of the different parts you might want. So with the Honda, originally, just to give you guys a little bit of my experience when it comes to mufflers, you're going to get all kinds of stories about mufflers on which is better, which one's going to sound a certain way, and I can tell you based on my experience, most mufflers are pretty similar. The real difference that I found with the sound is whether a muffler is it has a packing or it is a non-packing muffler, a non-packed muffler. So a lot of mufflers pretty much nowadays, a lot of mufflers, and there are differences, so don't drop me a comment and come and ask me, tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Most mufflers out there nowadays are like glass packs. They're modern day glass packs. A muffler is exactly what it states. It muffles the sound. And so there are different ways to do that. I always go back to, again, the two main ways. Is there packing absorbing the sound, or is there baffles, sound cancellation happening? And there's pros and cons to both. I've always been a fan of Flowmasters. I think Flowmasters have a very unique sound, and I think it's one of the few mufflers out there that when you hear, you can almost tell that that's a Flowmaster. Everything else, I don't really think personally, I can't really tell the difference as far as sound. Another thing I want to state is, guys, if you're looking at, if you're excited about getting your exhaust, you're like, oh, I'm looking to get some ideas, and you're going to go to YouTube, remember that what you hear on YouTube is not an accurate indication of what the car is going to sound like. You cannot judge an exhaust system based on a YouTube video, just like you can't judge a stereo. I don't care what you tell me. Some guys are like, oh man, you didn't turn it up, or my stereo or speaker. You can't hear what that sounds like. If you have a great stereo on your computer, you're going to pick up what that guy's audio equipment is picking up. If it's picking up the full range really well, it's got a good microphone, whatever, you're going to pick up that noise, but it's not a solid indication of volume or sound quality. You just can't do it. So what you can do is get inspiration from what other people if other people have made a video. You can check it out, look at it, see what they've done with the tips, and see what what they say about the product. But ultimately, you really need to hear things in person. So this video, I'm just going to give you guys some of my 2 cents on some of the differences I found with different types of exhaust. Now, I've had, in my history of cars, I've done exhaust on a few different vehicles. So I had a 73 Chevy with a big block 454. Originally, I did factory manifolds, 2.5-inch pipe with an H pipe going into some cherry bombs, standard glass packs, coming out the back. They're coming out the sides behind the rear tire. Sounded fine, not a big deal, but as I learned more, I heard more, I really liked the way that Flowmaster sounded. They have a real throaty, tinny kind of sound. And that's because there's no packing absorbing the sound. It's sound waves that are hitting off baffles and being canceled to a certain point. I found that Flowmasters on most V8s and V6s sound really good. They're best on V8s, hands down. V8s, I mean, if you have a V8, which I'm gonna mention, my mistake. If you have a V8, get a Flowmaster. Again, there's different ones. You might want to go with a 3-chamber. It depends on how much volume you want. I can tell you, based on my experience, an all-around good, safe muffler with a Flowmaster is the 40 series 2-chamber. I've had those on 2 different vehicles. I've had, after the big block on that truck, I ended up putting in a new 454 motor, crate motor. I did a comp cam, Performer Series intake manifold, Performer Series 750 carb, and a few other gingerbread, a few other items, you know what I mean? So nothing really over the top. The thing sounded fantastic. I had hooker headers, 2.5-inch pipe, or 3-inch pipe stretched the Flowmasters to 3-inch. Sorry, I got distracted. I got a neighbor I'm dealing with here. I'm waiting until she comes home. Anyway, different story. So anyway, I had those Flowmasters stretched to 3, did dual Megs tips right out the back. The thing sounded phenomenal. Awesome sounding truck. I mean, you really can't go wrong with a big block. I mean, there's just no, you just can't go wrong, right? So after that, I had my 96 Sonoma. I did cat back, so catalytic converter back, no resonator. Took the resonator out, did 2.5-inch pipe into a 40 series 2-chamber Flowmaster with a single 5-inch Bosel tip right out the back. Sounded super throaty. At idle, it sounded like a V8, but it was a pretty big motor, 4.3. That's a big V6. After that, I got my Honda Accord. I did a resonator back, 2.5-inch pipe into a pseudo muffler, which is basically a stainless steel double muffler with a Y pipe. So technically it is two mufflers with a Y pipe attached with a couple DTM, I think they're DTM style tips. It sounded good, had a nice deep sound, kind of what I would, and again you can't really tell, but kind of like a woo, just a nice deep mellow sound. Nothing too loud, sounded fantastic. And the pseudo muffler was actually really good. I ended up throwing it away probably about, I don't know, 10 years later, just because I was never going to use it again. I probably should have kept it or sold it because it was a really good quality muffler. There was no rust on it after all that time, and I drove that car rain, snow. I mean, it just, the thing that eventually the muffler did fall off, but it was due to the weld breaking from the muffler shop I had welded on. So it was a great muffler. After that, I did a dual system. So when I say dual, I don't mean dual exhaust. I meant I had a custom Y pipe fabricated to put two mufflers on it. So you have the look of dual exhaust. Just gave it a balanced look. It didn't really change the sound too much. You have two mufflers instead of one. I can't say the volume was really any different compared to one. So if you are looking to get if you have a 4-cylinder and you're looking to add exhaust to that car and you're thinking, should I do duals? It's going to be louder. Honestly, I didn't notice really any difference in volume, and really the sound was almost the same. I did the same setup on my Solara, resonator back, 2.5-inch pipe, and ultimately I've been very happy with it. Unfortunately, as time has gone on, the pipe started to rust. The car's pretty low on the Honda, so I started scraping some things on it, and what ultimately happened, I put a trailer hitch on it. The mufflers were so bad I had to cut them off. They were completely rusted, falling apart. Cut them off, and then I started to have a catalytic converter problem. I bought a new catalytic converter, went to put that in, couldn't get the bolts off, and guys, I tried everything. PB blaster, heating them, I tried heating them, then abruptly cooling them. I tried cutting them off. Ultimately, I dropped the entire exhaust system off the car and tried to do it on the ground with a breaker bar. Everything was just too badly damaged for me to get the thing off and salvage anything. So I said, if I'm going to go and replace this, why try to hold on to some parts, some factory, because the factory exhaust from the manifold back or catalytic converter back was all stainless steel, but even that was starting to show signs of wear. So what I did, again, I wasn't really looking to do this, but I went ahead and bought and then the downpipe for the header. It was just a cheap eBay header, stainless steel. Nothing wrong with it. It's only 68 bucks. The downpipe from hitting it on the ground had broke, and so it was leaking really bad. So that's how I took the whole system off. I ordered a new header. I ordered a factory walker, a factory replacement OEM style walker pipe, which goes from flange back, or catalytic converter with welded on flange, all the way back through a factory resonator, and then it terminates with another flange where you can hook up a stock muffler. What I'm going to do is basically put on my new header. I have a new catalytic converter I'm gonna put in, all brand new, the new piping, and then I bought, and I got them today. This is what I wanted to share with you guys 13 minutes later. I picked up a couple of these. And these they're not Flowmasters, but they are Flowmaster copies. So guys, I've had Flowmasters over the years. Flowmasters are an amazing muffler. I've never put them on a 4-cylinder before. So it's always been something that I've been wanting to do. It's always something that I've been curious about. I hope I don't regret it. Generally, guys, when I've put exhaust on the Hondas, I don't go for the high-end stuff. Now, here's the difference when it comes to higher-end parts. And again, there's no guarantees here unless you get a real major brand, like a name brand, like if you go with Walker or you go with like Dynomax. There's other brands out there, Flowmaster, but when it comes to some of these parts, the quality of the stainless steel is better. I've had mufflers in stainless steel from different companies that are like your generic cheap eBay parts. I shouldn't say cheap isn't bad, but there is a difference. It's just like when I look at my $1,200 Holland grill I have in my backyard, stainless steel, and these brand new ones you get from Walmart or Lowe's or any of those stores, they don't last very long. And even though they're stainless steel and they shouldn't rust, a lot of them do. So it's really the quality of the steel, and it's really the quality of unfortunately, maybe that stainless steel has gotten contaminated with other metals in the manufacturing process. I don't know. I'm not, again, a metal guy. I can just tell you my experience with mufflers and with stainless steel parts. There is stainless steel and there is stainless steel. As long as you're getting true, genuine stainless steel, you shouldn't have a problem. But with my experience, the tips on the eBay mufflers did completely rust out on one side. The muffler was coming apart. Granted, I still got 10 years, 11 years out of it. I'm not complaining. It was time to replace them. The Solara, same mufflers, no problem. But then again, that car doesn't get driven really in any rain for the most part or snow. So a little bit different there. The Honda is really my daily driver. So I got these. These are, they look like Flowmasters. This is a copy of your one-chamber Flowmaster race mufflers. They're just like the 40 series muffler by Flowmaster, but they're a single chamber. So Flowmaster makes their Series 10. These are the equivalent of a Series 10, but this is by a company called Total Flow. And I can tell you this is a copy, an exact one-to-one copy of a Flowmaster. And they make different styles, different inlets, outlets. There is an inlet and an outlet on this. You have to put them on accordingly. These are 2.5 inch in, 2.5 inch out. I was going to get the single, center in, center out, but the price on these were only $21 shipped with Amazon. So, and I can tell you, I've had Flowmasters, many of them. I've felt many Flowmasters. I have examined many Flowmaster mufflers, and I can tell you the quality of these is exactly what you're going to get out of Flowmaster. They do make them. I got red only because this was the color for the cheapest model. This finish will wear off. If it's something I really was concerned with, I'd probably, you know, have it sandblasted or maybe recoat it with something high temperature. It's under the car. This isn't a show car that's going to be, you know, up on blocks and people looking at. If it is something that's concerned to you, you can get it in mirror polished stainless steel, but you're going to be adding about $10 more per muffler. So keep that in mind. So I went with the generic red ones. I'm pretty happy with the quality. Again, compared to a Flowmaster, which is just aluminized steel, I think they're on par other than the coating. You can get these also in a black coated stainless steel. They're, I think, about $35 per muffler, but for 21 bucks, I was pretty happy with the price. Again, the quality, the welds, everything, even the way it says inlet on the side is exactly like a Flowmaster. And what has probably happened is maybe they had a patent on those particular mufflers and maybe the patent ran out. I'm not really sure, but they're one-to-one. So I think they do make them in the 2-chamber, but you'll have to check. I will put links in the description on these parts where you can check them out if you are in the market. Now, again, I've never done a Flowmaster on a Honda before, on a 4-cylinder. I'm hoping that I like it, and this is one reason why I replaced the pipe and wanted to keep the factory resonator. So a lot of you guys will do a resonator delete, and a resonator's true purpose is not really to muffle the overall sound, it's to decrease cabin resonance. So that kind of sound you get when you just kind of, I guess, you know, go along the freeway, and it's different for every car, where you're not actually, where you don't actually have the RPMs up too high, you get kind of like this drone. And so some people like that, some people don't mind it, some people hate it. Me, I personally have had vehicles with no cats, with no resonators. I've really never noticed it, but knowing that I was putting this on a 4-cylinder, what I didn't want the sound was like a raspy Honda, you know what I mean? I want to try to keep that sound as deep and as throaty as I possibly can on a Honda or on a 4-cylinder, so that's why I kept the factory resonator, and I'm hoping that will help to take out some of that noise. Now, I will say a resonator, even though they say it doesn't decrease the volume, let me put this down for a second. We'll get back to that. Even though they say that it doesn't decrease the volume, it's not really a muffler, I can tell you firsthand, based on my experience with these things, that it does in fact decrease the volume. Because if you were to listen to what an exhaust sounds like with no pipe, just a header, it is way louder than running through a resonator. A resonator is still a muffler, it's just a different type of muffler. Generally, you may or may not have packing, and it is a little bit of a confusing subject, because you'll look at some resonators, and some guys will say, well, resonator should just, if you're going to have, it may have packing, it may not packing. If you look through it, you'll have holes, okay? But those holes aren't fluted, so it's not actually preventing the exhaust, not funneling the exhaust into the mufflers or into the packing. Well, I've had plenty of mufflers that have louvers, like those cherry bombs I told you about, and then other mufflers that are just straight through, like the ones I've taken off the car. Guys, most mufflers out there, you're either going to have a fancy glass pack, even if it doesn't look like a glass pack. Most mufflers are still a glass pack. There is a packing, and that looks like it's either fiberglass or some sort of high temperature stainless steel or steel packing. It doesn't break down. I can tell you that's how it works. That sound is going through holes, kind of like a suppressor. It's the same principle. Some suppressors work with, well, actually, I shouldn't say, most suppressors work with baffles that actually create cancellation, noise cancellation in the sound. Flowmasters do the same thing. They have a baffle, and those baffles are supposed to cancel the noise. So that's kind of the difference. The nice thing about the Flowmasters is that you don't have any packing to ever wear out. How they sound the day you get them, unless something fails or breaks, is how they're going to sound throughout the rest of their life. I can tell you that the mufflers that I just took off the car, they were cheapies, they're eBay cheapies, and say what you will, I still got 11 years out of them. I was still very happy with the way they sounded. They sounded good, they looked good until they started rusting. Again, the Solara, no problems. I have the oval tip ones, no issues with those whatsoever. Still as nice as the day I got them, no signs of wear. Again, if you have a car that you drive, daily in rain, snow, and those kinds of conditions, you might want to maybe get a better muffler so it isn't going to rust out or wear out. Again, guys, I'm just trying to state here my experience with what I've gotten. And remember, you can spend, my pseudo muffler was a great quality muffler. It was $200, but at some point I had to replace the pipe anyway because the pipe failed. So you have to kind of think about, if you're going to daily drive your car and put exhaust on it, if it's something you're going to hold on to, figure on getting about 10 years out of your exhaust system before you start to show signs of failure. Again, my Solara, very rare, never in the snow, very rarely in the rain. That car has been babied, garaged. The part that's wearing on that is the Y pipe, which I want to show you another idea for you guys. The Y pipe to build that dual system, that's rusting out, huge holes in it. So the car itself, even if you baby your exhaust, even if you never take it in the rain, you live in an area with no water, no rain, no horrible conditions, the acidity, the exhaust, the liquid, or the moisture coming out of your exhaust, those gases are eventually going to make your exhaust deteriorate unless you go with stainless steel. This is with aluminized pipe. Stainless steel, you're a lot better off. Again, if it's a good quality stainless. And the price really ranges when it comes to exhaust systems. So again, for me, I went with aluminized pipe again because I figure in 10 years I'll have to replace it again. And what I did is to try to save on the cost. Something to think about too, if you're going to have a dual exhaust system put on, try to buy stainless steel parts. The less work that a muffler guy has to do, the better. Remember, when you're excited about getting your exhaust, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to get this done. You buy your muffler, they're going to charge you for every single thing they have to do. And the longer it takes for them to build it, they don't get paid 10 bucks an hour. These guys make good money to fabricate your exhaust, and they're going to charge you based on their time. So for instance, my Y pipes, I called the other day and said, what would it cost to have the cat back exhaust this time? And he quoted me upwards of $500. Now, due to inflation, nothing gets cheaper in this world for the most part. I was like, geez, shit, I got paid, then I got to buy all the parts. So what I did was, that's one of the reasons to save the money. I went with $68. I got the Walker catback factory piping with resonator, aluminized pipe. It's not stainless like the original, but it should hold up 10 years. I can bolt it on my driveway. I got the brand new header, $68. I've had the header that's on there now, 10 years, no signs of failure other than me scraping the shit out of it and putting a hole in it. So that's really my fault and the car being low. New Cali converter, that's been on there for 21 years. Finally failed, started to rattle, something's loose on the inside. Then of course, these mufflers, $21 each. Every bit as good as a Flowmaster. Now I did look at YouTube clips. Guys have these. They do have that throaty sound. Again, you can't tell exactly what it's going to sound like on Honda. I have no idea what I've listened to guys, all kinds of videos on YouTube, knowing that I can just maybe get an idea. I'm not really going to know. And I hope that it doesn't sound, again, knowing that I kept that resonator, I'm hoping it's just going to sound, it's going to sound different than